Hi, my name's Jim Hastings, and I'm the author of this book right here called Year of the King, parts 1, 2, and 3. Show you right there on the cover. I started writing this back in 2011-ish. I had the idea and concept started before that, though, around 2008 when I was doing a graphic novel. I started publishing it in 2013. Anyway, the book is called Year of the King. And I hope you like it. I'm going to read it from here because I'm 50, almost 51 years old, and I can't see type as well anymore. I need reading glasses. Part 1. Special Delivery. December 31st, 2235. 11:58 p.m. Hub City Hospital Maternity Ward. Hub City, Kansas. The pain. The pain. The pain. All Gloria Reynolds could think about was the pain, an excruciating pain, beyond anything she could ever have imagined, beyond. Was it this painful the first time, she thought, during a momentary lessening of the agony? When I had Amelia? She strained her brain and struggled through the medication and pain to try and recall the distant memory of that glorious day 4 years earlier. It's impossible, she thought, before losing her focus to a new wave of intense pressure that began to assault her from within at double the magnitude. I'm going to pass out, she realized as a sudden fuzziness began to blanket her mind and a high-pitched tone played between her ears. Rather than fight it, Gloria closed her eyes and gave in to the numbing, grateful to leave the painful waking world behind. But just as she crested the precipice of unconsciousness, a soft, feminine voice spoke gently from beyond her swollen abdomen and brought her back to lucidity. Breathe deep, Gloria did as the voice told her to. And push. Her eyes pressed tight, blocking out every bit of light. Gloria took a deep breath and pushed, her eyes bulging from her skull, capillaries bursting within the whites. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, said the voice monotonously. Ah! Ah! Screamed Gloria in return. Excuse me. Good, cooed the voice. Now, relax. In a guttural exhalation of carbon dioxide and spit, Gloria relaxed for a few seconds, grunting in agony and trying to catch her breath as the veins in her temples bulged and throbbed. Her eyes, now open, were unable to see anything, so she closed them again and began her breathing exercises, which did little against the agony of her contracting uterus. The intense pressure from within began to crescendo once again, causing her to wince and tighten, which in turn caused the soft-speaking, feminine voice to speak. Breathe deep. Gloria inhaled sharply and full at the prompting of the aiding voice and pushed with all of her might at the soothing order of push. Ah! Sparks and specks burst behind the darkness of her tightly squeezed eyelids. With one last hurrah, Gloria let out a beastly scream-grunt-growl and was rewarded with a sudden harmonizing howl of her newborn child. Finally, the deed was done. Gloria collapsed into herself, heaving and weeping and laughing all at once, elated and delirious and exhausted beyond human exhaustion, until the deafening sound of blood rushing between her ears began to ease, allowing her to hear the wail of her child reverberating off the sterile white walls of the medical facility. My baby, spoke Gloria dimly. She opened her eyes and squinted hard against the glaring white lights of the room to see 3 blurry figures. One moved from between her knees, the newborn child cradled in its arms. It handed the child off to another who, along with the third, tended to the wailing wonder. It is a boy, came the soft yet confident voice of the blurry, overlit figure. Roger that, responded a similar voice and tone and timbre. A male, timbre. At that announcement, the new mother began to weep, but quickly snuffled back her tears and muttered, My baby, let me hold my baby. Ignoring the woman lying listlessly in the violent aftermath of her creation, the figures continued with their routine, each of their voices soft and oddly monotone. Official time of delivery, 12 a.m., and 26 seconds on the dot, said figure number 2, the first of the new year. Airway, clear. Respiration, normal, voiced figure number 3 as it methodically rattled off the newborn's vitals. Heart rate, normal. Brain activity, normal. Gloria craned her neck, trying to glimpse her newborn child. Please, Let me see him. Let me see my baby. Please. Let me. But her pleas fell on deaf ears as the figures went on with their work, prodding, poking, assessing, and analyzing the young boy. Figure number 3 continued with its checklist of stats. Weight, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Height, 20 inches. Figure number 1 returned to Gloria and ducked down between her thighs to busy itself with stitching the wrecked woman back up. Ready the child for registration. Wait! Burst Gloria. Please, don't take my baby. Please! She reached out desperately toward the figures with her arms and upper body and was jerked back into place. A moment of perplexity caused her to look down to her wrist and find that she was shackled to the bed. Her vision and mind still foggy from the lights and the meds and the exertion, she contorted her forehead, struggling internally for clarification on the situation. She lifted her arms again and understood finally. A sudden wave of panic overtook her, and she tugged hard at the restraints, but was unable to budge from them. She kicked out with her legs and found that they were tethered as well. In a fit of desperate rage, Gloria thrashed violently in the bed until she was gasping for air and stars fizzed in her brain. Panting, she closed and then reopened her eyes to clear her vision, and was finally able to see, through twinkles and tears, her child being handed over to an ominous, hooded figure clad in a blood-red robe with a white cross emblazoned across its torso. "Stop!" she yelled. "Please!" But the rest of Gloria's protest caught suddenly in her throat when the hulking form of figure number 1 raised itself up to its full height and blocked her line of sight. The new mother blinked hard once, then twice, before finally focusing on the sobering reality before her. A medbot. All white in color, save for a large red cross on the torso, the 6.5-foot-tall, hairless humanoid known as a medbot stared down at Gloria with its glowing, yellow, almond-shaped eyes and docile, geisha-like countenance. Gloria darted her eyes toward the far end of the room in hopes of getting the other figure's attention, the one in red. The only other human in the room besides Gloria and her baby. The birth overseer. But the bot's large frame blocked her view, and she couldn't be sure the individual was even there anymore. Stymied, she looked back at the hulking humanoid and snuffed. Positive that it had had its patient's full attention, the medbot addressed her, its words passing coolly through its unmoving Mona Lisa mouth. "Mrs. Gloria Reynolds, you are in violation of Article 3 of the United States birth laws issued under President Benjamin in the year 2046. Her response was deafening. "What? No! 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 No!" Without any sign of fear or remorse, Medbot number 1 spoke above the bellows of the outraged mother. "Sedation required." At that, Medbot number 2 stepped forward, lifting its hand and extending a finger that retracted into itself. A quick whir sound was suddenly followed by the re-emergence of the digit, with a tiny needle protruding from it. "Please be still, Mrs. Reynolds," said Medbot number 1 as it nodded to bot number 2. With almost preternatural speed and agility, the machine moved to Gloria's bedside before she could even think to react, and palmed her head firmly like a basketball with its large inhuman hand. Gloria's eyes went wide as it injected the needle into her neck quicker than a blink. Medbot number 1 waited as number 2 gently eased the patient's head back down onto the bed before returning to its colleague's side for the continued address. "Mrs. Gloria Reynolds," it began again, "the law states that all expectant mothers must be both married and over the age of 25 at the time of conception, which you were." "F you!" spat Gloria, her shock worn off momentarily. The bot stood solemnly, unaffected by her all-too-human reaction. "The law also states that it is forbidden for any family below level 3 status to give birth to or possess more than one child." "That's right!" Gloria shouted in desperate elation. "I'm level 3! I'm level 3!" Shaking its head slowly, the bot answered, "No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Reynolds, but the unfortunate demise of both your husband and daughter 7 months ago negates that fact, automatically dropping you down to modified level 2. "No!" she raged in response. "No! No! No!" "Carrying this child to full term is in violation of the law," continued the medbot as it noted the drop in Gloria's voice and the now slurring of her words. "Please, my baby, please don't take my baby." Her protest suddenly dropped mid-mouth. The robot-administered sedative taking quick effect, and her vision began to re-blur. The bot continued. "In recognition of this violation, Mrs. Reynolds," Gloria's head filled with fog, "your child is now the rightful property," her eyelids became heavy, "of the United States of America, and her entire world went black. Anyway, I hope you liked that. That's the prologue to my book, You're the King, and I'm going to put more of it up here in excerpts. If you want to hear more or read more, they're available on Amazon.com. You're the King by Jim Hastings. Also, if you go to Zazzle, I sell mugs to go with it. Hub City Herald is the official news source of Hub City, Kansas, the future capital of America. Thanks for stopping by.